Yet another Chennai Super Kings game, but the script remains the same. Whether it's a week-long break or a fresh start, Chennai Super Kings just cannot get their act right this season, isn't it? So Ashwin, give me your hit of the day.
Amol, I'm going with the CSK fast bowler Deepak Chahar, simply because of the immense skill that he displayed as a fast bowler today. We all know that as a fast bowler, every fast bowler has a natural swing. It could be depending on his action and follow through and so on, either a natural in-swing bowler, natural out-swing bowler. They rarely have both. But Deepak Chahar is a rare exception who can get it to move both ways at will. That is an invaluable skill to have in cricket, because we saw that today when the way he set up Bairstow at the top of the innings was amazing. Bowled a few outswingers, kept Bairstow guessing, and then suddenly brought one back in. And Bairstow had no clue and got bowled. So when you are a batsman, when you don't know what's coming, especially when you retain the same action and everything in the release, it makes it very, very tough for anybody to score off you. And today, Deepak Chahar showed exceptional skills. 4 overs, 31 runs and 2 wickets. He did a tremendous job.
I would go with an unusual hit yet again. It's David Warner's really brave call in the 19th over when Bhuvneshwar Kumar had to go off the field after bowling just one ball. 19th over, as we all know, is the most critical over in a T20 innings. Chennai Super Kings were chasing, even though it was Chennai Super Kings of 2020. Ultimately, when Dhoni is around and 40 odd runs required of 11 balls, it was, you really had to take that brave call. As in, you only an aggressive captain like David Warner would have taken that call to have Khalil Ahmed, who was supposed to bowl the 20th over, to waste one of his balls and let him bowl those 5 balls and virtually seal the game. Obviously, Abdul Samad did come up with an exceptional last over, but with a drained Dhoni at the pitch, it was a calculated risk that David Warner took. But don't we know that David Warner is known to be aggressive, and that's what reflected in it. Ash, miss of the day?
Amol, I'm going with the controversial one. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I have to put it out there. MS Dhoni as a finisher is just not happening, Amol, because if you're coming in at 6 or 7, invariably you have to go at 180, 190 strike rate, because if you're chasing, you're going to be faced with a situation where the required rate is 12, 13, 14, sometimes 18, 19, like it happened today. And even if you're batting first, you have to go for quick runs. Now, Dhoni, he just doesn't seem to have the big shots in him, Amol, and we're not talking only about this match. We're talking for the last few seasons. It's not that he's not trying to make the effort, but even when he does, he just doesn't come off. We saw that today. When the run rate is approaching 18, 19, every ball has to be a boundary. I mean, we see this happening with guys like Pollard, Andre Russell, or even Sam Curran is able to do it. But for Dhoni, it's all about preserving his wicket. Let's take it to the last over and then see. It doesn't always work. If you're chasing big totals and required rate is so high, let's preserve wicket and go till the last over and see. It won't always work. And what also happens is, when you're batting with Dhoni, the partner is under a lot of pressure. I mean, it's like unreasonable pressure, because you know that Dhoni is not going to take the big hits. So it's down to you. And when the required rate is upwards of 15, both batsmen have to hit. How is it possible that only one batsman can hit? See, we saw this in the match against Rajasthan Royals also. He was batting with Faf du Plessis. Again, required rate was 18, 19. He said, I'll hang around. Faf, you do the hitting. Fine. Faf did the best he could under horrible circumstances. He did the best he could. And then when it came down to Dhoni, he did some hitting. He hit Tom Curran for 3 sixes, but it was just not enough. They lost the match. Today, same thing. He expected Jadeja to do hitting. Fine, he got a quick 50. But then when Jadeja got out, Dhoni had to do the hitting. He couldn't do it. He left it too late. And last thing, Amol, by coming in at 6, he is denying CSK the chance of getting quick runs by demoting the likes of Sam Curran and Dwayne Bravo. So if you're not able to do the finisher's job, drop down to 8 or 9. Let the real finishers come in bat. Right? Sam Curran and Dwayne Bravo are the big hitters. We're not doubting Dhoni as a captain and tactician and all that, but as a finisher, it's not happening, Amol. I think it's time we call him out.
My miss is not about the finishing, it's about starting the innings for Chennai Super Kings. Shane Watson. You talked about Dhoni, Ashwin, but my point is when you leave it so much for the tail to do or the lower order to do, it clearly indicates that the opening pair is just not working out. Yes, CSK have had enough of Vijay and dropped him for the game 14, but Shane Watson in 4 innings has had 52 runs altogether. That puts undue pressure on Faf du Plessis and Ambat Rayudu, who went out of the injury break. So my simple point is, it's like a situation quite similar to what happened to Gautam Gambhir and Ricky Ponting earlier. Eventually, either they had enough of themselves or the team had enough of them. So someone has to bell the cat. I don't know how will it happen, but my simple point is, it's not that CSK don't have openers who can fill up the vacancy, right? They have either Ambati Rayudu or Ruturaj Gaikwad to come in and replace Shane Watson, which will open up a place possibly for someone like Imran Tahir to get into the scheme of things, right? It's high time CSK come up with that move, because for a change, they are playing the chasing game. Not with regard to NRR, that never happens, but when it comes to the points, do you remember CSK being at the bottom of the points table ever? As far as I know, it's a first. I may be wrong.
Time.
Okay, but unless they do something with regard to this Shane Watson conundrum, I doubt if they can even think of getting back to winning ways.
Yeah. I'll take the afternoon match, that is Royal Challengers Bangalore taking on Rajasthan Royals. For me, the battle is quite simple here, Amol. When it comes to RCB bowling, it all comes down to leg spinner Yuzvendra Chahal. He is the leader of the attack and with some support from Saini. In terms of getting wickets or even containing runs, it's all down to Chahal. So, but the point here is he's taking on a star-studded Rajasthan Royals batting lineup. Sure, they lost the previous match that they played. They didn't come good, but we know Sanju Samson, Josh Butler, or even somebody who comes deep like Jofra Archer can win the match with the bat. Now, Chahal with his, flight and, googly and all these things which has been working well for him, this is a real test. I don't see Rajasthan Royals playing Chahal out safely like the other teams. I think they will back themselves, especially with the likes of Steve Smith and so on. I think they will back themselves and go after Chahal, try to score runs off him, put pressure on him. So this is a big test for Chahal. Let's see how he does.
Awesome. And I'm really looking forward to the battle of 2 overseas superstars when it comes to the match between Delhi Capitals and Kolkata Knight Riders. Remember, it's going to be played in Sharjah. In Sharjah, we have seen 62 sixes in 2 matches so far. I repeat, 62 sixes in 2 games. So, smaller ground is tailor-made for someone like Andre Russell to whack the bowlers out of the park. But that's where my battle comes into play, because in all likelihood, when it comes to death overs, he is going to be up against Kagiso Rabada. Since 2019 IPL, nobody has picked more wickets than Kagiso Rabada when it comes to the death overs. And that battle is going to be the decisive battle as far as I am concerned.